Hello and welcome everybody to day 2 of week 5 for the LCS Challengers League broadcast. I'm Kangas and I'll walk you through the action, and I'm joined for the first time this summer split with Gabby. How's it going, Gabby?
Pretty solid. I know you and I have not been on a screen together in quite some time. And
I swear, our producer just doesn't want us to work together, and I think that she was going easy on you because she knows how chaotic it can get when I'm running the desk.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that you get to experience that now. Beatdown, how's it going, man?
It's great. I feel like I just saw you yesterday, Kangas. It's crazy how things go, but surely that isn't the case. I'm doing great, though. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you're fresh off of the chaotic experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's every time. It's not just you, man. When we're on the same desk, it gets even worse. So really, our producer subjected Gabby to a lot today.
Yeah, but you don't happen to sing any metal music or be a big fan of wrestling, because if so, then this is like St. Deseric's energy, and
be
this
the winning
is gonna get
combo.
really rough.
I do have some crossover in the metal capacity. Maybe not the wrestling, but other forms of physical combat.
We'll keep that in mind as we make more content going forward, especially musical content. But let's get into the show, everybody. We want to start off with a reminder that the NACL Open qualifiers are going on. I believe that the finals were happening earlier today, and the application for the second one is up now. So if you're a team, if you're trying to compete in the Open qualifiers, make sure to go sign up. You can check out the Twitter account for all the link and all the information there. So Path to LCS, Rally Cry, actually, for all of that information. Beatdown, have you been following on any of the qualifiers? I'll out myself. I have not. I have not had the time to catch up on them.
I mean, I'm also going to out myself. Between this, why are we zooming in? What the hell? Why am I like under the microscope?
We want to see the beads of sweat form on your forehead.
I mean, I got a big forehead too. Like, this is not good. So listen, I've been very busy, guys. You know, watching all the NACL games, also watching camera off me, watching LCS as well. So, you know, I haven't had time. But,
hate to throw you under the bus like that. It's all right.
Okay.
Go check out the qualifiers, though. The great crew over there. We got Alec Batter, we got Summer, we got Grapes, we got Hawk. They're covering all the action, so if you have any questions, reach out to them. But we have our own action here because we had a bit of a rivalry between two teams towards the top of the standings that happened last weekend. And ahead of that, we actually got some of the players in for a bit of 2v2 action. We want to start off the day by highlighting some of the personalities in the league and taking a look at how Team Liquid Honda Challenger and Wildcards 2v2 win.
We can't lose kill. There are no ARAM items. Completely lied to.
Okay.
Wait, are they actually playing for tower?
Yes, look at their champs, bro. They're just double demolished.
Like, all I'm saying, guys, is that's a good guess on what we're doing. So
Wait, you guys are playing on the bounce?
It's okay, they were in their freeze.
We lost. We completely lost. I'm the worst Rengar in the world. We have completely lost.
Oh, it's not looking
Wait.
Oh, no. You know what to play for, Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, wait, let's actually go to
nice.
so Bradley can play his custom mode.
Wait, but I didn't even know this.
Let's just go, like, I just completely gaslighted. I heard they're ARAM items.
I thought there's ARAM items, I thought I'd get 1,000,000 gold. None of us know how to play them.
Wait, kill that. Yeah, kill.
Wait, good daisy summon?
Kill that shit if it. Oh, whoa! What the f?
Wait, Kill, can you put a bush on the tower?
Daisy.
Yeah, now I'm killing Daisy.
I got some plates, that's fine, No, low-key.
Wait, Ian. Oh. Oh, yeah. No.
It's
So
completely over.
steady wins the race.
Wait, I actually have Barry on the wrong key.
Oh my.
Wait, that's why you lost, you're right.
What are you even doing?
Oh.
Freeze up, it's time.
Oh, he's hitting the freeze. I can't stop it.
That's real.
Dude, look at my item.
It's over.
We have another freeze.
Oh, about that
Even if you
freeze.
perfect, yes, you can't hit.
Bye.
No. Oh, wait. Can we?
Yeah.
Wait, look at the ring.
Yes.
No. Cancel, please. Look at the ring. Yes.
Okay, good call. Just keep waiting.
I haven't. Yeah,
Oh, no. You ready?
I'm so dumb, I'm so
Here,
dumb.
right here. Sit here. Just wait. Okay, kill this thing. Okay, go.
Okay, well.
Hey, yes, sir.
Was it just first to 2 kills?
Yes, it's completely rigged.
Okay. I'm running out of base with this, and I'm going this, okay?
I think that's dog.
Wait, we actually win right now, by the way.
Good luck.
Same. Hope you win these Supernova.
Oh! Wait.
You want to risk
You
it
have
all?
lethal
You
tempo,
want to
no?
risk it all, buddy?
No, you have lethal. Back his ass.
Get your ass back here, boy.
It's very worth.
Hold that for me.
Oh. Hold gun, hold gun, hold gun. Oh, wait. Oh, God.
Wait, he's trash.
Oh, God.
He's trash. He's trash. He's trash. It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
okay, you live, you live.
They cannot win.
They cannot win. We'll just hit our 1-item spike and.
Can you walk up?
Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
this.
Also, no.
Yeah.
Get the out of there. We don't want to fight. You. Ian, he's sick.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
good,
fine.
good.
I'm 2x mana. I'm 2x mana.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, we have
look
to have
at
this though.
If we lose with these items, I'm quitting the game.
Remember, we only need 1 kill, by the way, okay?
Okay, get rid of the minions. Like,
Oh, true. This guy, no matter what this guy, just literally don't do anything. You ready? Up. All right.
we have level advantage as
Go,
well.
go, go.
We're 2 levels up.
Only ye.
Yeah?
What?
Oracle?
I trolled
I
it.
don't know.
I still have
Oh my God.
I'm permanent. That's on me. That's on me. That's on me.
This is unwinnable.
Okay.
This
Wait, did you not have your W on me?
Dude, you told me
Wait.
don't Themas. You are trolling me. You like fear. It's literally completely on. They can't win.
I know. They can.
Yeah. You guys literally lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can never win.
They
would
picked
say.
Caitlyn Tristana.
Yeah. Do they know?
Wait, really good there, Zumudo.
Yo. Just build your confidence.
Oh, a double stun? Okay. Yeah, well played, guys.
Really good.
Uh-huh.
Wait, now spam Q, Q.
Wait, kill this guy.
Dude, I'm killing
Wait, kill me,
Rumble.
kill me.
He's-
Yo, why don't you kill me? What the hell?
Dude, they're doing damage, I think.
Oh my God, Bradley.
Wait, Zamunda just killed himself. Surely you don't die as well.
Free.
Easy.
Yeah, thanks for the win.
I didn't that.
Wildcard 2 this weekend.
I didn't that, but you did get hit by every single spell in the entire game, Bradley.
I just don't understand.
I should control your keyboard, Bradley, and make you not get hit by those
If we
spells.
look at the damage, you did all. So. Oh, wait, I can't say that. Wait.
Oh, it's so fun to see the players having fun with each other. And hey, Wildcard, they got that 2-0, didn't they, Pete?
They did, and I gotta say, shout out to APA. Nobody trash talks like he does, and he's probably well on his way to being the most muted player in LCS.
Yeah, probably. As he has, of course, been
More
playing
than
in the
JoJo?
LCS, so shout out
He's
to APA.
he's already most muted. He was already most muted in Challengers, so I think he's
Yep.
coming for JoJo's crown.
Mid laners, yo.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Gabby, do you have a bet? Is it going to be JoJo or APA?
You know what? I think I'm actually wavering to the APA way. That long
Knew
term.
it.
Because if he already had that established in Challengers, then that's just going to carry over, especially after as well as he's been playing.
Got something to prove. So let's take a look at the standings here. Obviously, APA, we're happy that he's in to the LCS, but we do have our show here at the NACL. TLC still remain in first place with Harry stepping in. Beatdown, they didn't have the best day yesterday, though, with their first showing. How worried are we about TLC holding that top spot?
I wouldn't say too worried. I'll tell you what, Harry was not the problem in either game yesterday. I can tell you that confidently. I mean, props to Fear in that first game, because there were moments where TLC should have won. I mean, that legendary base defense from Perry, better be play of the week. I'm literally watching all of you on Twitch chat and Twitter. Like, that has to be it.
That'll be
Next week. But just keep an eye out for it.
Check out Twitter on Friday where we post it. But of course, we see Taco Supernova tied in the bottom of the standings. You mentioned Fear, so let's take a look at the schedule because that's our first matchup of the day. Cincinnati Fear going up against Supernova. And then we will have Maryville going up against AOE. Reminder, there are 2 streams. If you just stumbled across this stream, go check out LCS_Challengers as well. Pull up both so you're supporting all of them. And you get different emotes if you sub to different channels. So, there's an extra incentive for you there. Gabby, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Have you subbed yet to twitch.tv/LCS_Challengers or Path LCS?
I should. Now I'm like paranoid. I'm like, you did, right?
Well,
I'm not logged in on this
too.
screen right now, so I don't remember my password over here, so I can't check.
Okay.
Furiously trying to type to get that in before the show starts. Well, outside of just the fun that we had in the 2v2, we also heard some of the fun that Beatdown was alluding to between the Fear and the Team Liquid match that happened earlier yesterday. So let's take a look at some of the comms of the chaotic Cincinnati Fear.
Not bad too. Oh wait, that guy's f***ing one. We're up in 15. Just try to make time.
Yeah, I'm gonna make time right here. Try to flash into the wave and grab it, maybe? Nice.
Yeah, they're trying to tank it.
I mean, maybe they can.
Up in 5. We're up in 5.
The other one will take a while.
Try to go with them, I think.
Just try to hit them.
You're doing well, you're doing well.
Nice.
You're doing really good. You're doing really good.
Let's go Baron, guys.
I'm up,
Let's go Baron
I'm up.
after.
NEC shot, can go. Stop the gate. Nice.
Yeah, let's go Baron, let's
I'm
go
going
Baron.
more, I'm going more.
I'm going more too.
It's just Kenan LeBlanc.
Yeah.
That's the play, right? Beatdown, the play of the week you're talking about?
Absolutely. Like the fact that Perry holds that entire wave, gets the double kill under the turret. It took 7, 8 more minutes of gameplay, but that was almost the end there for Cincinnati Fear. They end up coming back and winning, and it was all because of Perry making that legendary save.
Yeah, great save. And Gabby, get ready because that's hopefully going to happen a lot here. Perry's been having a split over at Cincinnati Fear alongside Shochi and Manui, but there are 2 new members coming in. JJ, you have actually seen at the LCS in the past, and then, of course, Philip had a little stint in LCS too. So they did have some roster swaps from last spring where they had a very deep run in the spring playoffs, getting actually into top 4. Pretty impressive stuff. And Gabby, I want to get your thoughts on this because they're one of the teams that have really embraced that kind of like city aspect of like being localized to one area. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I also think there's something about the energy that comes from these teams and the multiple times we've gotten to hear their comms, whether it be in the play we just witnessed or when Perry was up for play of the week recently and had some very emotional responses when trying to grab that for himself. And of course, Shochi last time around, I had the pleasure of getting to comment and see commentary over their games where you can see the pop-off potential, even though there obviously is a disruption in that overall identity with the removal of Trevor. I still think that they've kept a lot of the core pieces that they're still trying to work and figure out to find some success here in summer.
And they'll be up against Supernova here. Beatdown, storied organization, very different players than we expected coming into the summer split, obviously. And they've had a kind of slow start to how the summers looked. They are tied with, of course, Team Fish Taco in last place. What are we thinking about them right now?
I'm thinking things are tough right now. Bottom of the standings. They've had some pretty clutch wins coming through here, but their next couple of matches over the end of this weekend, next weekend, which is the last weekend of regular season play, does mean they really got to start picking up some wins here, especially against the Fear who are turning things up. Every single win is going to count to make top 8.
Yeah, they got to have a late season surge here, Gabby.
Yeah.
And we've talked a bit about the emphasis on these last remaining matches of the regular season when you're kind of in this bottom clump of the standings. So when looking at yesterday at their games against Evil Geniuses Challengers, the difficulty was EGC was looking good, much more controlled than they have in some of the earlier portions of the season. So when Supernova are in a position of really needing to rack up those wins, they're coming off of quite a disappointing series in that regard. They need to take this opportunity to at least draw and keep their footing within the potential of making it into these playoffs.
Yeah, they obviously it's going to be tough. Not every team can make it into the playoffs. There will be 2 bottom teams. It's up to Supernova to try and make some ground and catch up to the teams right above them in the standings. AoE Gold only 1 game ahead. Maryville only 2 games ahead. So it's not impossible. Not impossible for them to make it out. But now we talk about expectations. Because we had the whole theme going into the week, the race to playoffs. So I'm going to bring this back. Vita, I know that we were showing this off a little bit yesterday. I'm going to catch Gabby up on it. So Gabby, this is something I put together. It's the current standings, or at least it was going into the weekend. Now we do have a 3-way tie for second place, so we could kind of move wildcard around here. But I want to talk about expectations for where Supernova get. What I want to do here is I'm going to keep moving them up and beat down. Gabby, I'm going to have the 2 of you say a confidence out of 10. 1 to 10 as to if you think they can make it into that spot, okay? Boom. Catching up to EG. What do we think? If they make it right here in the standings.
Maybe a 3, 4 out of 10.
3 or 4 out of 10 to make it one place above. That's rough. Although EG have made up a little bit of ground. How about here, catching up into 7th place?
They're basically fighting for, maybe like a 6. Because they're fighting against Taco, who I think have the hardest remaining schedule from what I saw before. So, okay it's pretty possible.
All right.
I'm trying to cheat and actually look at some of Supernova's.
We're really struggling to get confidence above a 6, though, in order to catch any ground, which means that's they're going to come up to their gameplay to actually prove us wrong and that they have it in the tank. So, with that said, let's take a look at some of the gameplay of their competition, because Cincinnati Fear are, of course, one of the teams that we expect to have a resurgence here in the second half of summer. I have a lot of confidence in them, and when we look at their gameplay, Beatdown, I know that you have confidence too.
I do, and this is a team where it's exciting to me because in these first couple of weeks, this was a team that had a really slow start. They lost 2 core members in Philip and Faisal and Trevor. And we saw it in how they lacked confidence, how they lacked the coordination we saw in spring. But with this last weekend, these clips are from week 4 with how they played against TLC yesterday. I'm really confident now in saying that, at least in terms of ability to fight, that willingness to pull the trigger and work together, everything we praised them for in spring, it's back. This is looking like we are seeing spring Cincinnati Fear come through. And this is a team that, as we get towards the end of the regular split, could still make a top showing in playoffs like they did before.
Now, Gabby, we have the bet, which is always who's going to get the next penta, because Perry's gotten one, Shochi's gotten one. Manui would make sense, right? 80 carries oftentimes do get that, but do you have a horse in this race?
I think that Shochi should get the Tristana again and then try and get another penta, because he also got snubbed in the votes for play of the week.
Thank you.
And I think he deserves another shot at trying to make it there.
Well, a reminder that this is also a rematch. You had highlighted that yourself, Gabby, that Trevor used to be on this team. Now he finds himself against the team. So, you know, the Cincinnati Fear like to have fun with it, but Trevor, we know, is the all-business guy. And we actually have some footage behind the scenes to highlight this. This was captured last spring split. Look at that. No, Trevor's not interested.
The head shake.
No.
He does not approve.
He knows Shochi ain't getting that pentakill. I know that you might want it, Gabby, but I think that Trevor's got other plans. So, final thoughts here. I want to give it to Beatdown. What are your thoughts on Supernova's 21% community vote right now? Do you think that that's warranted, or do you think that they have more in the tank?
It's pretty warranted. Whether or not they have more in the tank is going to be up to them themselves. This is going to be one of the easier matchups, all things considered. And we're talking about how Fear are actually surging upwards in these last 2 weeks, Kangas. So, I mean, I think it's accurate. Supernova, you're going to have to prove me wrong.
Let's see if they can. With that said, Pick and Ban is ready, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to pass it over to Gabby and Beatdown for game number 1.
All right, let's get into it. Beatdown, we're here once again. We were here last week on the stream, and now getting into Cincinnati Fear versus Supernova. Again, very, very important for both of these teams when trying to fight into the playoffs. But I think I'm really curious most of all, to see what we see in draft, because if looking at yesterday's matchup from Supernova against Evil Geniuses Challengers, EG kind of baited the Olaf pick out with a first pick Jace, and were able to shift that down and flex it to give themselves some advantages to really oppress the Olaf on Quacker. But we've seen what can happen when Supernova are empowered on the top side of the map.
Right. It's such an important part of how Supernova play the game that when Quacker is on, Supernova are on. And going into this split, we, in a lot of our meetings, talked about who on Supernova is going to carry. We've seen Robbie Bob for a couple of years in this Tier 3 developmental scene. We've seen Sketch, and we haven't seen those high highs that we were hoping to see for these players who are trying to go pro. And so far, even this split, we've seen glimpses, sparks, flashes of light, but nothing consistent enough to get Supernova out of the position they're in. And at this point, some of their best wins are when Quacker has Olaf, Darius, and he gets an insane lead and 1v9s the game. He has been playing well, but someone else on Supernova needs to step up if we're actually going to see them make that top 8 push.
And in some cases, that has been players like Music, who is drawing that Kindred ban, not just because of the prominence of the pick within the meta as of late, but his ability to carry, though recently going on some more of those kind of early impact picks to try and set up someone like Quacker, who has already gotten the Olaf taken away from him. His preference towards these ghost champions very much known. But we'll see what Cincinnati Fear can bring through. Shochi won't have the Tristana this time around. That's just too good of a pick right now. In mid, still has that flexing option when it does appear in the draft. And I think that you can always feel confident when taking that away from any team.
For sure, and it's tough. 2 bans going Shochi's way. He's been so good this split for Cincinnati Fear. Yesterday, the Kaisa that we're seeing hovered right now was actually his 17th unique champion in 25 games. He's got an ocean that Supernova or no other team in this league can seem to traverse, and he has been a constant bright spot for this team alongside Perry, who is one of the returning members from that spring top 4 run.
And we've seen what Perry can do just as recently as yesterday. A game that looked doomed for Cincinnati Fear. Team Liquid Challengers had the gold lead for pretty much the entirety of the time. Really were pushing into the face for the end, and then that playmaking ability is what allowed Fear to come back into it. We always get the Darius hover, I feel like, as long as it's not banned. But so the Seraphine has been banned actually in some of the recent matches, I believe, in the squad, and now actually becoming the first pick over for Supernova.
That's interesting because it is banned a lot, but it's usually banned against Fear because they were the only team in Challengers League, spring, summer, who were willing to play this champion. But now Supernova are the ones bringing it out against them, recognizing the strength of this pick. And we're seeing the Rel as well. I mean, with these two coming together, there's still a lot of flexibility in Supernova's draft. We've seen Rel jungle rise in prominence as early as yesterday because of some of the changes on this patch. So now Supernova, they've got some pretty strong picks in their pocket.
85% presence of that Seraphine in terms of ban against Fear. And sometimes you don't have to ban it to deny that pick from them to be putting onto Manui. You can just pick it up yourself. And yeah, Rel, a lot of support still preffing her within that position. But as you just mentioned, Beat, somebody we've seen in jungle position. We're getting a little bit of shake up from the Fear side. Yasuo coming in.
Okay, there was a game, I don't remember who they played, but they ran this Gragas Yasuo. It was a tough game, but Shochi and Perry were the ones who were running that duo, and they made some magic happen in some pretty tough moments, even though they ultimately lost the game. So I really like this one. Very aggressive. This all in. It fits with the Kaisa that we now know is going into Manui's hands. And you still have that potential to flex the Gragas top lane for Philip, who has been good. But I'm expecting it to go to Perry.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on where that pick is going on Fear's side, because I think that is one thing that I really enjoy, especially about the NACL, is I feel like a lot of the teams are willing to stretch the flexibility of these champions, and whether it be someone that's kind of built for it within the recent changes like Rel, or just kind of looking into the pools that are very individualized on a lot of tier 2 players, right? They get their names for things. I mean, we're talking so much about Quacker and his affinity for Olaf and Darius. A lot of time, even APA, right, came in very known for one particular champion, but then expanding that over time. But we're getting deeper into the draft now, Beat, and starting to get into some of those bans. I know that you, when speaking on the broadcast last time around, already were very aware of the strength of Rumble and understand why this pick is banned here today.
Yes, I like it. Renekton's still very strong, but in these situations where you can pick it, like R3, and then ban away that pesky Rumble, who's even more broken somehow. So good on you, Supernova, for recognizing that one, as we're seeing Robbie Bob's Cassiopeia taken out of the picture. When APA was still in the league, it was most banned against him, but Robbie Bob also has this pick in the back pocket. So Fear, they're getting rid of some of those champions that are really good against the Yasuo in particular. That Miasma is a pesky one. And at this point, it's just seeming like Fear needs to round out this composition with a little more HP. I'm expecting Philip to go for something a little tankier on the top side. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see the Malphite. Another way for Shochi to get in there with that last breath. And even though you lose out to the Renekton, you still scale fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, scaling is always something that's good to have within your pocket of the draft. Tool to lean on later on when you have confidence in your team fighting, which I think that Fear does in a lot of ways as well as Supernova. But Viego locked in for Supernova here, so that means that the Rel likely going over towards Trevor in the support position, with Viego now looking for a carry angle from the jungle.
Right, and at this point, Fierce Comp, it is all about the all-in. I think Rakan would fit. Poppy is another good look. Just these kind of champions that can also go in and set up this Kaisa, set up this Yasuo to get that kind of movement. Skip past the front line with their ultimates. And it is going to be the Poppy. We'll see how they round things out. Supernova, comp is startily lacking a lot of damage. You have good team fight, clear front to back, but at this point, I'm expecting Seraphine. I'm pretty certain it's going to go into the mid lane, and Sketch needs something in the tank, like some kind of hyper carry. We saw him on Jinx yesterday, and that's probably what he's going for today, or the Aphelios.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how these matchups end up going in the lanes, though, especially when looking over to Supernova side and you're noting the damage that they need to be able to bring through to keep themselves nice and scrappy in this matchup. Only one more pick to be coming to them, but yeah, lots of melee action on the Fear side, that's for sure. And I mean, that Kai'Sa is really just going to be trying to very much capitalize upon the lockdown of a lot of the comp and dish out that damage. Robbie Bob looking to go with potentially classic.
I don't know what this is actually. I guess we'll see, because we have some time. But the Annie pick, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, Annie towards mid.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
You'd hope. But, so it makes sense. That's been a big pick for Robbie Bob, and something I think teams should ban away from him a lot, because that's one of his best performing champions. He's going to have it here, where in terms of these long extended fight damage per second, I'm not really seeing any of it there for Supernova. So they really are depending on this big burst combo to get music a reset. Otherwise, they're done and dusted. Your side, though, it is Shochi with the Kai'Sa. It's the Yasuo Gragas bot lane. So Manuni and JJ are throwing down the gloves.
Yeah, I love that we saw, this Yasuo pick come out earlier. Some thoughts on where it might go based on previous performances, but showcasing the flexibility of some of these players by throwing that Yasuo down bot lane. What a look we have here from Fear, coming into a time in the season when a lot of teams tend to go for comfort more than anything else. When you're trying to grab these individual wins, you're not thinking of them as best of twos anymore, right? You're thinking of them as what you need to come through, and that's why you'll see so much of a priority on very straightforward type of compositions. But a different look here, Beat. What do you make of kind of this creativity?
And it's one of the big things Fear are known for. They are always willing to push the envelope. Oh, hold on.
Oh, Sketch.
First
That's
blood.
a lot of blue bars around. First blood. Going over to JJ. So picked up by the support, but multiple assists coming out of that here too.
Yeah, and it's good. It's a good pickup. You don't get any summoners out, but you make space for Perry to go for this invade here. Rel is forced out of the picture as well. Music on this Viego getting set behind would be so rough for Supernova there. So it is a nice look for JJ to go over the wall and get that pick with the rest of his team. And, they're just being annoying here. Not actually trying to take the buff, but they're just slowing down Music, who's getting a little help to start off on his Wolf's camp.
Music, just as you were saying, Viego does want to be able to get ahead and in a carry position to be powerful enough in those fights to get the Heartbreaker off in the resets for a continuous use of that ultimate. So we'll see how Supernova adapt to ensure that Music can be in a powerful position for them later on.
Yeah, I really like this pivot too to the Yasuo Gragas on the bot lane to answer your previous question, because of the fact that you saw the Seraphine likely going towards that bottom side. And the fact is, Seraphine really strong with gold because of the ability to wave clear. Poke damage is actually kind of annoying for someone who is a more support kind of style looking champion, but that's when you get your mythic, Gabby. That's when the Leandres comes through. It isn't until then that we're actually seeing that damage come out. So Manui and JJ go for this very aggressive lane here, and I like what Shochi's trying to do as well. All of Fear are trying to mess with Music during his first clear, and you look at this draft and you're like, dude, Music is the guy. You set him behind and everything is going just great for Fear.
Yeah, and I think that for Fear, when you're looking at, let's pause on that. Sketch.
Who it is?
Flashing traded for Flash. Perry coming through to punish Sketch. Already pretty much guaranteed kill here for Manui. Fear making sure that the bot laner grabs it, and Trevor, as healthy as he is, can't do anything to try and match that back. Good play by Fear, and kind of goes into the point that you're setting up there, Beat, that Fear have a clear game plan here right at the top. I mean, Perry making that play, let's try and suffocate Music as much as we possibly can, and then down here on the bot side being very proactive and continuing to face off against Music this time.
Music might have
Philip
flash.
starting to get the latch onto him, but
a little too
Robbie
far.
Bob coming with the stun up. Music here, putting in the work. Oh my goodness, that's a bit of a scrap we have on this top side, so Philip ends up
He got the
a
stun.
bit too worse for wear.
Wow.
And now Music around a little long, so Perry's able to follow up, and Fear getting advantages on both sides of the map, despite a little bit of a scrap back from Supernova.
You got to be careful fighting Cincinnati Fear, Gabby. They are always ready to throw down. And you can see it not only with the way they turn around that last kill that Music picked up, but also the fact that, again, they are just putting so much pressure onto Music straight from that level 1. It got the information for Perry to go for the bottom lane play that we just witnessed, and it's got a 1,300 gold lead for Fear in these early stages. Supernova's comp, you cannot afford to fall behind here. Your burst combo to get a kill from Music is everything for them this game, and if they fall behind, they will never get it off.
And so at least Supernova can be happy that Music was able to pick up that kill, but as you mentioned, Beat Fear have the overall gold lead right now, already in that 1,000 territory at just under 5 minutes. You have kills onto the support and the bot laner and the jungler, so it's not all funneled into one position, but should be able to continue giving Fear the edge up here. And Supernova, I'm sure they're going to be looking for the next game plan. Scuttles have been taken by Fear on both sides, so some additional vision acquisition, especially now that Dragon becomes a possibility.
Yeah, right, so Music wasn't able to actually go for that invade early on. He's just going to go back to farming his respawn camps. But that kill does feel really nice here, and the fact that Quacker is going to have that prio for the first bit of this early game just because of the Renekton is so important for how Supernova play this early game. Even though as time goes on, especially with how Fear are playing things out, it is going to be tough for Supernova, but a way they can get back into it is that Rift Herald they prioritize so highly. We're still just under 3 minutes away, but if I look at the top side Supernova are working with, even with support roam, I do like their chances. But for now...
And mid lane, Shochi hits 6 first, so still no Tibbers for Robbie Bob, and Jay starting to aggress as well. Both supports matching one another on this mid lane roam, with that Dragon being up, making sure that they can set up in multiple lanes. All the while, Manui has been pushing up on that bot side. Music has come back to play, dropping the controls on both of the line brushes, one of them just taken out by Fear. They want to get this set up properly.
And we're seeing the all-in pangs. Music forced to return to clear his topside camps means Dragon number 1 should be easily secured by Cincinnati Fear, especially with that pressure you were talking about from Manui on the bottom side. And this is good because even though I favor Supernova's ability to secure that first Rift Herald, the fact that Fear are going to get this Dragon early means they don't have to worry about any other objective other than the Herald. They can send their whole team to this top side if they want to, because Gabby, even if we talk about the comps and how they work at this early objective, Fear are a team in this league, both this split and last, with this insane level of confidence. They win fights that you don't think they should even go for. And even though they sometimes lose it, that confidence, that ability to play together is a large part of their success from Spring.
And see if maybe there's some play together with 2 members of Fear lurking from the brush, trying to go for Robbie Bob, who doesn't have the stun up yet. Instead gets stunned up himself. Drops down Tibbers as a last-ditch effort, but Fear collapsing upon the mid laner to get another pick. All the while, Manui left alone down bot side, but has been very comfortable in doing so. Does have to use one summoner, but still keeps his life.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at this duo. What damage are you scared of? And now Manui has the last breath. Oh, no.
Perry and Jay immediately rotating down. Ultimate activated by Manui, slicing through one. Perry gets the kill credit onto Sketch, but Trevor burned down by the Ignite will fall. Manui gets the second kill. So good pickups from Fear, moving from mid lane towards bot to make the plays after the Dragon's already been taken. So this is great control of the bot side of the map.
This early game's been all Cincinnati Fear, Gabby, and with more gold that they pick up, the more likely it's going to be easier for them to secure Rift Herald number 1. Supernova have had pretty much nothing going their way in the first 8 minutes of this game so far. Only one single kill from Philip, overextending a little bit here, but you're seeing the angle. We talk about stats. They're a little far behind. Shochi getting that static shiv pretty early on. First full item completion here for either side does mean that even though Fear are late, they can walk up to this Herald, and they should be able to contest.
And that lead for Shochi has been very much earned by the aggressive plays around mid right now, though. Perry, the subject of Supernova's aggression as they try to take this Rift Herald, do finish it off. Phil hopping onto Music, who flashes over the wall. Trevor gets stunned up, sees if he can hit 2 of them with a Q, but has fallen. Philip taking a kill, and now Quacker had walked down to try and save his brethren, but has 4 members of Fear upon him. Flash already expelled, trying to get in range with the Slice and Dice and the Dominus Pop towards the turret, but cannot make it. So Fear bring it to 9 kills on the scoreboard compared to the 1 acquired by Supernova in what feels like ages ago.
Right, and on top of that, even though you lost Herald, which is 2 plates worth of gold, kills notwithstanding, Philip has earned that alone just now on our screen.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no.
Music doesn't get to do anything. Has to Heartbreaker into the Herald path to leave his own jungle. I mean, Fear have very much been following this continuous call of don't let Music get online. Don't let Music get online. Let's pressure these lanes, but also don't let Music get online.
That's right, and they've just constantly done that all game long, making him fight for every single camp he gets, but he has to be careful. Going too far will cost his life.
Jay over the wall. Trevor gets knocked airborne. Shochi taking out the enemy support. Hibbers will zone them off since Jay's already down to half HP. But double digits on the kill board, and Fear 4.7k gold lead here at 10 minutes. Still lots of plates for them to reap. And even more aggression to be had onto Music.
No way!
Shochi, good follow-up with the killer instincts. My goodness, I'm sure the frustration is rising.
It's gotta be. Fear are getting more than a kill a minute just on their side, and really, Perry might be able to get collapsed on, but I suppose not, because Shochi, he's keeping Robbie Bob nice and busy in this mid lane.
The Slapper Timbers are happy, but flash forward from Shochi means he can take Robbie Bob down before any last damage finishes him off. Trevor on the rotation, hands the double kill to Shochi. That plate getting full, that tummy very, very nice and satisfied with all the eating Shoshi's been able to do on Kaisa so far.
Yeah, and again, his second game on the Kaisa after him debuting on it yesterday with a stellar performance in Game 1 against Team Liquid Challengers. Gabby, Shochi is a player who, coming into Challengers last split, some people weren't sure about how he was going to go. I know it was a constant conversation among the broadcast talent at the beginning of spring because he never got a chance at Tier 2. But man, he's turned it up this year and he's looking good.
All right, so Cincinnati Fear are trying to grab some advantage back towards them. Still pretty deep into the enemy jungle, zoned off by Quacker, Music, and Trevor for the additional assistance. This is one angle that Supernova were looking at while the CS has been ahead for Philip now because of the aggressive nature that Fear were taking towards that top side. We were seeing Quacker start to build things up and at least get a bunch of experience and try to become some kind of force for Supernova later on, despite getting targeted by some of the plays around Rift Herald. All the while, though, even when trying to look for those positives on the Supernova side, you cannot ignore the big, big positives on Fear's side as they pick up their second dragon.
The only thing you can really show for these last 5 minutes of play is that Quacker is getting a lot of gold, a lot of turret plates, and that's kind of it.
With Quacker up top, Supernova trying to go for the play down mid. Sketch using the ult for the lock, and Music. Heartbreaker still at the ready, too, if they do end up getting in a re-engage later on. So Supernova still keeping some of their pools. As now Quacker, every time a play is made elsewhere, feels like Quacker is targeted by multiple members of Fear on top side. So Dominus, again, not going to be enough to survive the last hits from Manui. Fear continuing to push their lead.
Yeah, and this is just another example of that flexibility we saw here for Cincinnati Fear. Like you talked about it, Gabby. Teams towards the end of a split, especially when you're not as concerned about playoffs, start to play more normal types of compositions. They don't really try and stretch what they're able to play. Not Fear. They keep mixing things up. And even though I can't say I always agree with how they mix it up, I love that they continue to try. And it's so cool when things like this work out.
Yeah, exactly. I think that especially when you're looking at the NACL that is very focused on development, that comes from challenging yourself in many ways. And if you just keep going safe, then you're limiting your opportunities for growth. Yes, there is a time to do so, and that's not a knock on when teams are trying to keep their heads down and get the wins that they need to, you know, reach a certain point in the standings or in playoffs specifically. But I do love to see the teams continually leaning into that identity. And when it works out, like we're seeing now for Fear, then it encourages you to do it all the more. And I think right now they can feel really good about the 6,000 gold that they have ahead of Supernova. And I don't see them letting up anytime soon, even with Trevor going for the engage with a Magnet Storm, and a flash in and a follow-up from Perry means that Music gets slammed and knocked into the ground. 2 kills already taken by Fear, and Quacker has seen this picture before. All the blue bars against him on the top side, this time closer to his turret already, but it has been weakened and a wave is coming for Fear's side. And Quacker instead, slice, dice, flash, nah, Shochi so fed, still going to get the kill. 7-0 and 5 and 7.9K gold right now. Look at that chart beat.
He is miles ahead of everybody else on Supernova. And uh-oh, JJ.
And JJ fallen into a little bit of trouble here, but look what Manui's doing in the meantime, just kind of trying to push up on that wave, see if he can collapse and help out Jay. But you saw that Perry and Manui weren't necessarily in a rush to try and help him specifically, seeing if maybe they could get something on this Rift Herald, but now they are outnumbered until Shochi makes this rotation from mid. Also note that Philip is coming directly from mid lane as well. Teleport in from Supernova. So Quacker, first setting his sights onto Shochi, recognizes that's the biggest brunt of the damage from Fear, creates enough space for Music to be able to get this Rift Herald. Perry gets stunned up. Trevor has fallen low into stasis. Robbie Bob goes, and Quacker still keeping those eyes onto Shochi. Shochi remaining alive, 2 eliminated from Supernova, and Trevor effectively knocked out of the fight. Robbie Bob stunned up on the exit, and Philip slapping him away. So still 3 taken down. Trevor seeing if he can take Manui with him was tanky enough for a moment, but instead it is the double kill for Philip, starting to get some gold into his pockets on the Jax. And because Shochi survived, can take that mid turret here too. Shochi got so low, the Supernova just weren't able to finish him off.
And I think that's the perfect example of what Supernova's comp is trying to do. It looked pretty good for a moment there. Music was getting the resets. He was starting to possess, and that kind of benefits you a little bit, even if you're behind as the Viego, because remember, when you possess someone, you get access to their items. So you can use how fed Fear are against them, but even in that situation, as you say, Shochi was so low, but it wasn't enough. The gold lead overall is just too large for any of these plays to work.
Oh no, explosive cast used by Jay to zone off Music. Ooh, they do have that turret available, so still with 200 HP, can't just walk it back towards the fountain. Manui falls fairly low during his push up mid, but it was only facing off against Trevor, which was enough to be able to finish him off. Robbie Bob and Trevor trying to do their best to save this turret. They can't do it, get the stun onto Perry, but as soon as he's back up, Trevor and Robbie Bob have to back off. Music back into it, though, to make sure that this push doesn't go any further.
Right, but you got your prize. You got the tier 2 turret. No, we're 17 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
And Fear are 10k up. Like, this is a stomp. And yesterday, after beating TLC in game 1, that was kind of the end of this whole narrative we were talking about with Fear as the bar. Beating teams below them, losing to teams above them. And even more so, this kind of dominance is what we want to see from teams who are trying to get towards that top of the table, especially for Fear, who was at the top of the table in playoffs in spring.
And as Fear pick up their 3rd dragon here, they're very much leaning into that top of the table mentality. And I'll admit, even in their win against Team Liquid, though, yesterday, I was still very tempered in my expectations coming into today's matchup because that victory from Cincinnati Fear was off of that significant parry play later on.
True.
But it wasn't just an accident, right? It showed the resilience of thought and making sure that you're still looking for the winning angles even when you're down. And now Cincinnati Fear coming into this with a different composition that they are navigating very well and able to keep such a significant gold lead against Supernova. Supernova did get that last Rift Herald, though, which they threw towards top. That's both of the Rift Heralds that were used to try and crack open this lane. That turret had been kind of whittled down with Quacker on the top side, but they don't have another turret to retreat to now. So we'll see if Fear speed up enough to attempt to find a cutoff angle. You see Philip has teleport at the ready on the bot side, and then Manui is seen over in mid. Teleports coming in from both teams. Jay throwing out barrels. There's the explosive cast to separate three, which leads the lockdown for both Harry and Philip to completely eradicate Music. And now Quacker next to follow with the dot that has had enough sustain to try and go for JJ, but couldn't quite get the kill. Philip all on his own with Robbie Bob, who's already used Tibbers, has a stun, but there's Manui lurking in the tri-brush if he was needed for any help there, but obviously not. The members of Fear putting in work in these engages. The burn down good from Shochi. Gosh, he's just so strong at this point in the game, and a little Seraphine has nothing he can do for it. Trevor dies. No one gets the kill, but
he's off the map.
But he's off. He's gone.
It kind of counts.
18 seconds.
Yeah, that's something you could be happy about. It's like, see, executed. Got him. Even though you're down like 11K. It's the small things, Gabby. You take what you can get when you're getting mollywopped, Goomba stomped, ruffle clapped. Take your pick.
More. Give me more of that. What other synonyms do you have for Wally?
Let's see, mollywop.
How long can the list go?
That's actually the end of my list. I'm not gonna lie. You caught me.
I guess is like a more T-sports kind of thing, but
true. I could start like mixing up the words so they're like new combinations. Like Goomba.
We just need
clap.
to come up with new ones.
I'm gonna work on that between this game and next game. I'll have more ones for you.
Yep. Some creativity that we were inspired by the creativity of Fear, coming into this with their draft. And we just want to do the game justice in that regard because they are putting a nice display here in game number 1. Shochi just feels like getting to do whatever he wants. Trevor goes in with a stun. The Void Seeker's coming in to assert some of that vision, and Cracker in the center of it all gets knocked up with that front liner taken down. 3 members now off of the map again. Fear, yes, they're chunk low, but JJ goes to stasis. Philip, nice and healthy, though, from the bot side, going for the play to secure the ace as Cincinnati Fear are looking good in game number 1.
Looking good, looking dominant, and with 21 minutes being the game clock, you can just start the Baron. You can kind of do whatever you want as Fear, but a big thing is I want them to just start closing things out. Gabby, when you have a stomp like this, the mark of a top team isn't just being able to get a tremendous league, it's also the ability to close out quickly and cleanly. In Fear, 14,000, I think that's step 1 checked off. I don't know about you, especially looking at the gold across the board, but now we're looking at step 2. Close it out.
Yes, and I do have to give props to a lot of the teams within this league for, I think, responding to the meta shifts. And you're seeing, I'm looking at the timing of games, right? Where kind of in this meta, there's been a bit more of a swiftness, and I think some of the ones at the top of the table have been able to keep up with that pacing.
Right.
And when you're down in that kind of borderline trying to make it into playoffs, you want to prove that you can do the same and close out.
For sure.
I'm going to... All right, I'm going to date how long I've been in, the League esports scene for a bit.
Okay.
But back before there was Academy, before there was an official Tier 2.
Whoa! Really? That long?
We were doing kind of basically a remote cast from home, but a lot of, individually organized tournaments. And there are players like Licorice and stuff like that were coming up through that. It was before the system. And that was the kind of the specialty, was having all these long games because it was still so much a time of development that was the most difficult thing. Teams knowing how to get into a leading position as often as what you're practicing in scrims, but you don't get as much practice in a lot of times of actually closing it out. So you would have these long games that would feel done by 20 minutes, but on average would go over 40. Different meta and things, yes, right? There was no Elder at the time either. These kind of late game buffs that are built to try to be able to end game, so that was a factor as well. But it's something that when tracking over time, I think it shows the development and the quality of players, right, over the years. You know, even Stixay making jokes about, oh, you know, on recent content, well, Jay was, or Huhi rather, was a mid laner back in the day. So if you played mid lane now, like, is it the same, right? The quality of play was different many of years ago. So I think it's a nice thing to see if you're a longtime fan of League of Legends that the tier 2 even level has improved so much compared to what tier 2 was many years ago. And you still have to focus on that specific skill of being able to close it out. But I do say it's less of a struggle than it was for players back in, 2014-ish era.
Yeah. One thing I'm curious about, actually, on that topic. So it took a long time for games to end, even with tremendous leagues, right? So how often did people make the comebacks, or was it almost always just JoJover?
I'd say, hold on that. Double teleport from both sides. Tibber's already thrown down, and Keeper's Verdict manages to slam Tibber's and Music away, and Quacker keeps getting burned even with the dominance. Trying to go for Shochi this time, but Fear have already taken out 3. Music was already pushed out of the fight because of that ultimate, and Sketch right by his side, trying to get some of these stun-ups over the wall to delay the push of Fear on this top side, but Fear are looking to try and close some books on these inhibitors.
You know, I gotta say, I kind of feel for Quacker a little bit. He's had a couple of, like, almost Renekton moments here where, despite this tremendous deficit, he was going to be able to get a kill or get something going, but it isn't there, and Fear are looking to close the book, as you said, Gabby. They're going to start this Baron, and this is the last hurrah for Supernova. TP's coming out. Robbie Bob is in the area, but is he in trouble?
Teleported in and has the stun up, but Music is already sought out by Jay and Manui on the opposite side, and the remainder of Fear have drawn themselves off to the Baron so that they push Robbie Bob way far away from being able to do anything about this. Since Music is dead, there's no threat of that smite, so Fear can burn down this Baron. And yet, Philip and Shochi, they don't have to focus on killing Robbie Bob. They don't really need to. They're just kind of having fun with their food here. Another execute, 2 executes in a single game. We had an execute on this stream yesterday too, but that was an early game top side execute. We've had a couple late ones here in this one.
We have, and deny some gold feels good. Doesn't really matter because Fear now have the Turo Baron buff and a whole ton of extra cash into their pockets. As surely we just ARAM mid and close this game. It's over. It's JoJover.
JoJover.
You say JoJover or do you say Jover, Gabby? I've heard both.
I don't think I've said either until this very moment, so
what would you say?
JoJover feels more fun to say.
Yeah, okay, good. I think so,
because it makes me think of Mojo Jojo. Anything with JoJo.
Oh, even more based. A Powerpuff Girls enjoyer.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Hey.
I have to resist not saying Mojo Jojo jokes every time casting JoJo, because then it'll get old, but Supernova trying to make their last stand. Robbie Bob had flashed in for the initiation, and Manui now having to flash out of it. They do kill off Terry. So first time that Supernova are getting somewhat of an advantage at the start of the fight, but Sketch has been taken out. Philip going ahead and leaping over onto Quacker. Manui has fallen low, but a double kill for Manui means that he stays into it. There's so many times where we see, okay, just a couple more hits onto members of Fear, but just the very nature of what they're bringing to the table with their builds and beyond, I mean, they live in these fights, they live in this game, and they close it out at 27 minutes with a victory.
Maybe not as soon as I would have hoped, considering how strong this game started for Fear, but still a great showing all together. 27 minutes, still below the average that we have so far in Summer Split. And man, they beat the brakes off Supernova. That was, I don't know if we could show that on stream. Like, are we going to get in trouble?
I know, it was feeling a bit brutal if you are on the side of Supernova, but you can see on that gold graph right there, nice, clean angle that they got, right? Of continually building up that gold lead. And so much of that came off of denying music early, making sure that he was oppressed in his jungle, making those plays where we saw Perry having that early visit towards bot side. Minui had the shove up on the lane for so much of the early game, and good look from Fear here in game number 1.
For sure. And I mean, funny stat too. Fear got 40 kills that game, which is kind of astonishing considering there was only a handful of kills the other way. But Supernova had 42 deaths. So, you know, do with that information what you will, chat.
Yeah. So it was who ended up getting it was the execute of
Trevor and Robbie Bob
and Trevor, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So Rel going down towards mid and then Annie towards top side. Well, that was definitely a fun game for the first game. So I hope we do get some more entertainment in game number 2. Let's take a short break, and when we return, we'll get back into the series.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace. Find your drive.